Most people think it takes grand gestures, constant texting, or even playing hard to get to stay on someone's mind. But the truth, it only takes three simple words. Not "I love you," not "I miss you," but something far deeper, something that flips a switch in his brain and makes him think about you nonstop. Once you understand how to use these words the right way, you won't have to chase him. He'll be the one chasing you. When we talk about the psychology of trigger words, what we're really talking about is the way our brains are wired to hold on to certain phrases while letting others pass right through. Think about it. Most conversations we have in a day are forgettable. You don't remember the small talk with the cashier or the quick "How are you?" you gave your coworker. But every now and then, someone says something that lingers, and you catch yourself replaying it hours later. That's the power of the right words at the right time. They bypass the ordinary and sink into the emotional part of the mind where memory gets sticky. For a man, this is no different. He might hear countless voices in a day, but what makes your voice stand out isn't volume or frequency. It's the emotional hook. Trigger words work because they carry a charge, a meaning deeper than the surface. They're not just words, they're keys that unlock feelings. And once feelings are unlocked, the brain does the rest of the work for you. It keeps circling back, replaying the moment, searching for that spark again. Most people think attraction is only built through big gestures, but the truth is, the smallest phrases delivered at the right moment can carry more weight than an entire conversation. Imagine you tell him something that validates his strength, or highlights the way he makes you feel safe, or acknowledges a part of him that most people overlook. Those aren't just words, they're triggers. His brain marks that moment, stamps it as important, and revisits it when he's alone. What makes this so powerful is how rare it is. Men don't often hear words that speak to their core. They hear the daily chatter, the routine exchanges, but rarely do they hear something that makes them stop and think, "Wow, she sees me." And when you're the person who can deliver that kind of recognition, you're not just another voice in his life, you become unforgettable. It's like highlighting a sentence in a book. You might read hundreds of lines, but the highlighted one is the one you go back to. The psychology behind it comes down to emotion. Memory clings to what moves us, not what's neutral. If your words can make him feel proud, wanted, admired, or deeply understood, his brain gives those words a spotlight. They rise above the noise. And because men, just like anyone else, crave feeling seen and appreciated, he'll subconsciously replay those words to relive the feeling. That's why it's not about saying a lot. It's about saying what sticks. Think about how music works. You can hear 100 songs in a week, but there's one lyric that keeps echoing in your mind, not because it was louder, but because it connected. The same goes for conversations. The right phrase becomes his stuck lyric, looping in his head when he's driving, at work, or even lying awake at night. He won't just remember your words, he'll associate them with you, and that's how you create mental presence. The beauty of this is that you don't have to force it. You don't need scripts or rehearsed lines. The most powerful trigger words are often simple, but they're fueled by sincerity and timing. When you say something that matches a moment, when he's opening up, when he's showing vulnerability, or when he's celebrating a win, that's when it lands with maximum impact. It's like pressing a button that was waiting to be pressed, and once you do, it keeps lighting up. So if you've ever wondered how to make him think about you nonstop, understand this. His mind doesn't obsess over empty words. It obsesses over the ones that carry weight. And when you're the person who knows how to give those words, you don't just enter his thoughts, you stay there. Here's the thing about words. They don't work just because you repeat them. They work because of the moment you choose to say them. Most people think the more you say something, the more it sticks, but that's not true. If you repeat it too much, it loses power, it starts to feel routine. What really leaves an impression is when those words come at the right time, when they're least expected, or when they're needed the most. Timing is what turns ordinary words into unforgettable ones. Think about it like this. If someone told you every single day, "You're amazing," eventually it would start to feel flat. But if they told you that one time when you were doubting yourself, when you were questioning whether you were enough, those same two words would hit completely differently. They would stay with you because they arrived at the exact moment your heart was open to hearing them. That's how timing works. It's not about volume, it's about precision. For a man, this matters even more because men often move through the world with a shield. They don't always show when they're insecure, when they need reassurance, or when they're carrying weight they don't talk about. So when you drop the right words in those rare moments where his guard is down, you plant something unforgettable. It could be after he shares a worry he normally keeps to himself. It could be when he's celebrating an achievement and you amplify his pride by recognizing it, or it could be in those quiet, ordinary moments when he least expects you to say something that affirms him. The less obvious the moment, the stronger the impact. Think of it like planting seeds. You don't just throw them on the ground every day and hope something grows. You plant them at the right time, in the right season, and then they take root. Words work the same way. When you say something with intention, it lands deeper, it grows stronger, and it lasts longer in his memory. The truth is, most men don't remember the words they hear on repeat. They remember the ones that caught them off guard, the ones that matched their emotions in the moment. If he's vulnerable and you recognize his strength, he won't forget it. If he's proud of something and you amplify it, he'll replay it. If he's quiet and you speak to him in a way that feels thoughtful, he'll carry it with him. Timing is everything because it turns a fleeting comment into an anchor he holds onto. And it doesn't always have to be tied to something big. Sometimes it's in the smallest moments that your words matter most. Maybe he's just sitting there, not expecting anything, and you look at him and say something that reminds him of who he is to you. That moment becomes etched in his mind because it wasn't routine. It was intentional. It stood out against the noise of everyday life. When you understand this, you stop feeling like you need to constantly remind him of how you feel. You realize it's not about the quantity of times you say it. It's about the quality of when you choose to. That's what keeps your words alive in his thoughts. So, if you want to make sure he thinks about you nonstop, don't focus on saying the right words all the time. Focus on saying them at the right time when his heart is open to receiving them. That's when they'll echo the loudest, and that's when they'll stay. Words by themselves are empty until you breathe life into them. What makes a phrase unforgettable isn't just the syllables. It's the energy you carry when you say it. Two people can say the exact same thing, but one gets ignored while the other lingers in your mind for days. Why? Because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. If you whisper something with warmth, if your tone carries honesty, if your body language matches your intention, then the words gain weight. They stop being ordinary and start becoming magnetic. A man doesn't replay your words just because of the dictionary meaning. He replays them because of how you made him feel in that moment. And feelings are what burn themselves into memory. Think about a time someone told you, "I'm proud of you." Now, if they said it casually while scrolling through their phone, it probably slid right past you. But if they looked you in the eyes, paused, and let the weight of their words sink in, it probably gave you goosebumps. Same words. Different energy, one forgettable, one unforgettable. That's the difference your presence makes when you deliver those three magic words. Men, just like anyone else, pick up on the invisible cues, the way your voice softens, the way you lean in, the way your expression shows that you actually mean it. That energy creates an imprint. It tells him this isn't just another conversation. It tells him you're being real. And when he feels that realness, it makes him crave more of it. This is why confidence matters. If you deliver words with doubt, like you're unsure or seeking approval, they lose their power. But if you say them with certainty, not arrogance, but certainty, they stick. Your tone says, I know the value of what I'm giving you, and that confidence makes him value it too. It makes him feel that your words aren't just something you hand out lightly. They're intentional, and they mean something. And here's the thing, energy is contagious. If you say something with genuine joy, he feels that joy. If you speak with warmth, he feels warmth. If you express admiration with real conviction, he feels seen in a way that no one else has made him feel. That's why some words echo in his head long after the conversation is over, because they carry the emotional signature you left behind. It's not about being dramatic or over the top. It's about being aligned. Your voice, your eyes, your timing, and your sincerity all syncing up so that he feels your words more than he hears them. That's what makes him stop later in the day and think back, not just about what you said, but about the energy you carried when you said it. He remembers the warmth in your tone, the spark in your eyes, the softness in your smile. Those details replay themselves in his mind over and over. So when you say those 3 words, don't just think about the language, think about the energy you're wrapping them in. Because long after the sound of your voice fades, the feeling you gave him will stay, and when he keeps chasing that feeling, he'll keep thinking about you. One of the most powerful things you can do with words is shift someone's focus. Most men live with their minds constantly pulled in 100 different directions: work, responsibilities, stress, distractions, even their own doubts. His brain is always juggling, always moving, and often what gets lost in the noise is the connection with you. But when you use the right words in the right way, you redirect that focus. You cut through the clutter and make his attention land squarely on you, not because you forced it, but because you gave his mind something it naturally wants to come back to. This works because our thoughts are tied to feelings. When you say something that sparks a feeling in him, his brain wants to hold on to it. That means when you frame your words in a way that highlights how much of an impact he has on you, or how deeply you see him, you give him a reason to shift his focus away from the noise and back to you. He's not just hearing you, he's experiencing himself through your eyes. And when he likes the version of himself you reflect back to him, he'll crave that reflection again and again. Imagine a man who feels invisible in his daily life. Maybe he's successful, maybe he's hardworking, but inside he feels unnoticed. Then you say something small like, "You always know how to make me feel safe." That moment shifts his perspective. Suddenly, his focus leaves whatever was on his mind and lands on you. Why? Because you created an emotional contrast. Out there in the world, he's just another guy. But with you, he's significant. That shift becomes addictive. It's not about flattering him endlessly or trying to boost his ego. It's about being intentional. When your words connect him to a deeper truth about himself, something he doesn't usually hear, it reprograms his thoughts. He doesn't just think about what you said, he thinks about who he becomes when he's with you. That's the kind of focus that lingers. And here's the interesting part. Once his focus shifts, he'll start associating that shift with you. That means when he's going through his day and suddenly remembers how you made him feel, his thoughts return to you without you even being there. You become the mental break he looks forward to, the thought he wants to replay when things get heavy, the memory he reaches for when he needs grounding. It's almost like being a compass point in his mind. The world spins him around, but the moment he remembers your words, he recalibrates. That's how you stand out, because while other people in his life might contribute to the noise, you're the one cutting through it. You're the one redirecting his attention back to what matters most. This is why the 3 magic words are so powerful when paired with the right energy and the right timing. They don't just fill space in a conversation. They shift space in his mind. They take his focus off of everything else and draw it back to you, not in a fleeting way, but in a way that makes him revisit it again and again. So if you want him to think about you nonstop, don't chase his attention, redirect it. Give him the words that cut through the noise, that anchor him to how he feels when he's with you. Because when you're the person who shifts his focus in the best way possible, he won't just think of you. He won't be able to stop. What makes words unforgettable isn't just the sound of them. It's the way they get tied to a moment. When you say the right thing at the right time, it doesn't just float away into the air, it fuses itself to an experience, and that experience becomes what I call an emotional anchor. Every time he thinks back on that memory, he doesn't just remember what happened, he remembers you. And the more moments like that you create, the more you become woven into the fabric of his thoughts. Think about the last time you heard a song that instantly took you back to a specific place or a specific person. Maybe it reminded you of a summer night, a long drive, or a time you fell in love. That song isn't powerful because of the notes, it's powerful because of the memory it carries. The same principle applies when you use words that land during meaningful moments. They get stored in his mind right alongside the experience, and every time that memory surfaces, so do your words. And with your words, so do you. Imagine he's telling you about a dream he's had since he was a kid, something he doesn't usually share. Most people might nod and move on, but you look at him and say, "That's one of the things I admire most about you. You never let go of what matters to you." That moment doesn't just vanish, it becomes an anchor. Now, every time he thinks about that dream, your voice echoes in the background, reminding him of how seen he felt when he shared it with you. Or think about the smaller, ordinary moments. Maybe he's laughing with you over something silly, and you say, "I love how you make life feel lighter." That statement gets tethered to the memory of laughter. Now, every time he remembers that joke or that night, your words resurface with it, making him smile at the thought of you. You've created an anchor in his emotions, and it's tied directly to you. The secret here is that these anchors are effortless. You're not trying to force yourself into his head. You're simply layering your presence into his memories in a way that makes it impossible for him to separate the feeling from you. When he thinks of comfort, he thinks of you. When he remembers victory, he remembers your words of encouragement. When he feels joy, he recalls how you highlighted it in him. And the more these anchors stack up, the more his thoughts circle back to you without him even trying. And it doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. Sometimes the most powerful anchors are the quiet ones, the words you say when you're walking together, or the moment you pause and really notice him when no one else does. Those small anchors build a foundation, and before long, he realizes you're tied to so many corners of his life that he can't think about one without thinking about you. That's what makes these three words so magnetic when you know how to use them. They don't just fill silence, they attach themselves to feelings, to moments, to experiences he doesn't want to let go of. And when those moments replay in his mind, so do you. So if you want him to think about you nonstop, understand this: when your words become emotional anchors, you don't just cross his mind, you live in it. Words are powerful, but if they only stay as words, they lose their magic. The real impact comes when what you say translates into how you show up. Because anyone can speak beautifully, anyone can say the right thing in the moment, but what makes someone unforgettable is when their words line up with their actions. That's when trust is built. That's when feelings deepen, and that's when the bond becomes something he can't shake from his mind. When you use those three magic words, you're not just giving him something to hear, you're giving him something to feel. And that feeling should ripple into how you treat him, how you carry yourself, and how you nurture the connection. If you say, "I appreciate you," but your actions dismiss him or overlook him, the words vanish. But if your actions back up your words, if you notice the small things he does, if you acknowledge his efforts, if you actually show that appreciation, those words take root. They stop being just sound and become truth. That's where the real attraction happens. Because he doesn't just think about the phrase, he thinks about how it played out in real life. If you tell him he makes you feel safe And then you lean into that safety when he's around. His mind anchors the words to the experience. Now, every time he thinks of protection or strength, your face comes to mind. You've turned words into a reality he gets to live, and that's why it lingers so powerfully. It's the same with joy, admiration, or love. If you tell him, you make life exciting, then live that excitement with him, even in small ways. Those words gain texture. They stop being abstract and start being evidence. He doesn't just hear it, he lives it. And when he lives it, he craves it because the connection feels consistent. You said it, you showed it, and he got to feel it. That cycle makes you unforgettable. Too many people rely on words alone, hoping they'll carry the weight of the relationship. But words unsupported by action fade like smoke. What stays are the experiences you create with him. The consistency that shows him your words weren't just empty air, they were a reflection of how you truly see him. And the more those experiences build, the more his thoughts revolve around you without effort. It's also in the small follow-through moments. If you tell him he inspires you, and later he sees you motivated to try something new, he feels the echo of those words in your actions. If you tell him he's someone you trust, and then you actually lean on him when you need support, he realizes you meant it. Those follow-throughs are what separate someone who just talks from someone who imprints on the heart. At the end of the day, these three magic words aren't a trick, and they're not about manipulation. They're about aligning your words with who you are and how you treat him. That alignment is rare, and it's magnetic. Because when he sees that what you say matches what you do, he doesn't just think about you, he believes in you. And belief is what keeps a person rooted in your mind long after the words have been spoken. So if you want him to think about you nonstop, don't stop at saying the words. Live them. Because when your words become action, they stop being temporary and they start becoming unforgettable.